Hello and welcome to episode 6 of the LCG Production Podcast. I'd like to welcome nthemarketer. Thanks so much for coming on, man.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, so just starting off, how did you get into music marketing? What's your sort of path through music been like?
So a good friend of mine has been making music for a while now, and he asked me to be his manager a few years back. And I was interested. I was doing my research. And over time, I just found that what I did best was the marketing side of it. Like, that's what I enjoyed doing. Everything else was just a lot of dedication, a lot of complications. And I worked best in the marketing environment. And from there on, that's what I've been focused on.
Yeah, I mean, that's really interesting because people like you start like me as well. I started with like music production and making beats. And then like as I got more into it, like I realized how important marketing was. And then I just like I get addicted to that as well.
Exactly.
And I like that as well as music. Did you start off with music?
Exactly. Like I always say. Sorry, what did you say?
I was asking, did you start off with music originally and then get into marketing?
No, I've never made my own music. I've always loved music. Like from the age of about 13, I've been obsessed with music all the time, just listening wherever I go. But I've never made music myself. But luckily enough for me, I had a friend who made music who helped me learn some things about the industry, some things about how music gets out to everyone. And from there, I've taken it into my own hands to try and help other upcoming artists.
That's cool. So with like the management side of things, do you think artists should always get a manager? Like at what point do you look to have a manager? Because it can be so useful, but there's a lot of confusion about like whether you really need one.
I think a manager is something that's important when you need it. But a lot of artists try and get a manager early in their career. They put all their trust, all their faith into someone they don't really know, and that can end very badly. I think the best thing to do is to pick a manager that's close to you, maybe like a very good friend, a very good relative, someone who knows you well and knows your goals, your ambitions, and can actually help take you there, rather than just someone that DMs you on Instagram like, oh, let me manage you. I can do this, this, this. I wouldn't trust someone like that. Trust someone that you know well.
So once you find that person, what do you think a manager should bring to the table?
A manager can almost be like a babysitter, to be honest. You need to be there for the artist because I'm sure a lot of artists go through lack of motivation when something doesn't go how they expected. If they ever feel like giving up, like the manager needs to be there straight away and say, like, look at what we've done, look what we can accomplish. But other than that, the manager needs to help with booking venues, help with the marketing side of things, help with publishing record deals. They should have knowledge on contracts and things, just almost taking care of the artist, taking care of their every needs and helping them focus on what they do best, which is making music.
Yeah, and that's such a benefit because obviously the thing the artist like really needs to focus on is making the music. So anything that gives them more time to do that is definitely a win. How do you go about finding someone that you trust enough to do it? Like, obviously, being friends and family helps, but like, surely that can complicate things sometimes if you're just relying on a family member to manage you. Because if you ever get in like a situation where you need to leave that manager or something, that's quite difficult. So, like, are there any other ways rather than someone you know already to find a manager?
I would build up as you're growing a fan base and you think it's time to get a manager. You probably have a team around you already. I'd look at those people in your team if you don't want it to be a family member because it can be difficult if you're going to have to leave them eventually. I'd look at the people in your team, look at what they can bring to the table, and then ask one of them, like, I feel like you can be a good manager for me. You could do a lot for me, and see if they're willing to do it.
Yeah. Talking about a team, like, what point do you start growing your team, and how important do you think it is to have a team as an artist?
It's very important to have a team as an artist because, like we both said earlier, you need to be focusing on your music. So, I'd say it happens quite naturally. You get people reaching out to you, like venues and things. From there, you make connections in the industry, and just try organically as possible to find these people because a lot of people are in it just for themselves. But over time, it's hard to say, really. It's hard to say just try your best as you grow to find people you trust, find loyal people, and put them in your team for booking shows, for streaming, for marketing, for publishing. There's literally so many options to bring people in, but just make sure it's the right people, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely. But like, if you're an artist just starting out and you're like, all right, I need a team. So what are like the basic team members on like a normal like artist team? So obviously manager, artist. What else do you think?
Manager, artist. If you can find a videographer that can work on all of your videos. Publishers can be very helpful. Mixers, masters, engineers, producer you can work well with, like what you do. You do producing, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. All of those are very vital. From the top of my head, that's what I can think of. But I feel like as you grow, you'll find out yourself what you need and what you don't need. There are a lot of unnecessary things as well that people can try and offer you.
Yeah. And getting back to marketing, like that's obviously such a big thing. So I guess having someone on your team who could handle marketing would be absolutely huge.
Yeah, for sure.
If you can't get someone in your team, there's a lot of like people who are listening who are just artists, and you know, like whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, they're the one-man team. How do you think they should go about marketing, or just like the fundamental things that they should be doing right now?
The mic cut out a bit. Did you say how should new artists go about marketing?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think you can reach out to marketers, but a lot of marketers will just throw you on a playlist, get you a bunch of streams and say, okay, this costs this much money. But I think the best thing to do for marketing is to grow a fan base who will be loyal to you, who will happily stream your music, who will even promote it themselves. And the best way to do this is by just building up a relationship with them. Of course, at first there'll be a cold audience, but you can slowly warm that audience up, get to know them a bit, let them get to know you through your social channels, your social medias, your YouTubes. And then from there, you can promote to the people who know you and they're more likely to stream your music. I feel like that would be a lot more beneficial than just putting you on a playlist for a couple of weeks and getting a bunch of streams from people who aren't going to listen to your music in the future.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I believe in that so much. It's like just thinking about long-term goals rather than just like immediate return on investment. So like, you can create one ad which sends people to a thing and you get a certain amount of streams, but how many of them are actually going to turn into fans, which is what you mean, buy merch, concert shows, etc. But like the hardest bit for me, at least, was at the beginning, just trying to grow like some sort of like audience who know me. Have you got any tips for just starting out trying to grow that, like your fan base? Because that's the hardest part.
I'd say a good analogy is picture it as like a rocket ship. To take off, it will require a lot of fuel, a lot of work, and maybe a lot of money. Once you've taken off, it's almost easy. You'll pick up fans a lot easier, but just taking off in the beginning is the most important part where you should put the most work into. And to do this, I think content, a lot of content on all of your channels, and just let people get to know you through this content.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's pretty much the best thing to do. Just let people get to know you, make it easy for them to know you through, say, a website, social media. And yeah, just have as much content out as possible so people have something to look back on once they've found one song that they like.
Yeah, that's cool. Where do you think people should be putting out content? Just on Instagram, or can they go somewhere else, or should they mix?
Of course, TikTok right now is doing ridiculous numbers. TikTok's a great place to be on. I feel like Instagram is very important because it's the first stop after, well, for me anyway, as soon as I listen to an artist I like and I want to find out more, I'll go straight to their Instagram. So let people get to know you on Instagram. TikTok to get some cold traffic, make it warm in the future. An underrated method is email lists. Once you can build up an email list and talk to the people who have subscribed, they're clearly interested in you. I feel like a lot of artists miss out on that. Email lists are very, very important.
That's
I'd
really...
say those are three main ones right now.
Yeah, that's it. So how do you build up the email list, and like what sort of things are you using the email list for? What are you sending out to them?
So you could, one of my ad campaigns I run for artists is an opt-in campaign. So once I have an audience who've watched, say, 80% of a video of yours, I'll target that 80% plus watch time with an opt-in ad. This opt-in ad will be an email list that, a form you fill in that drops down on Facebook, so you won't need to leave the app. and they can write their name, their email, and I believe their phone number. And from there, you can build a list and just weekly updates, what you're doing, what new projects you're working on, some behind the scenes footage only to that email list, like the process of recording a song, maybe like strip back the layers of each song, just things that would interest your fans. And like, as I said earlier, let them get to know you. I feel like that's key, getting to know the artist from a fan's perspective.
So just to like go over that. So you're getting people who have already engaged with your content. So watch 80% of one of your videos, and then you're building like a retargeting ad on Facebook, which is really easy to set up. And you're then getting their emails from that. And then you're sending them out weekly updates.
Yeah. And then once you've got all of their emails as well, that's free marketing. You won't need to pay for the Facebook ads to target those people again. You can simply just say, I have this new single coming out, build up hype on your email list. And that's literally free marketing. An email costs absolutely nothing to send. And these people are interested in you, and they're much more likely to stream music.
Yeah. One of the issues about email marketing is ending up in spam, obviously, and not ending up, because you want to end up in the inbox. So for like artists listening, once you have an email list and you're sending emails to fans, like you want it to come up as like a normal email. You don't want it to come up in the promotions folder or anything. So what sort of things can you do to make sure you're ending up in someone's inbox?
Well, in the first opt-in, once they've opted in the first email, make sure to put clearly that they should add you to their contacts. This way, you'll never be in their spam. It's very easy to do. And from there, just make sure your copy is good, what you're writing is good. Have an engaging subject line, an engaging first few lines, and make sure to just keep them intrigued throughout the whole email. That way, they won't just ignore your future emails as well.
And how often do you think they should be sending emails? Just once a week? Or is it better to, like, the more the better? Like, where's the line?
I think once a week is ideal. You don't want to spam them too much, but just make sure that you're always fresh in your fans' heads, essentially. So I think once a week is definitely the best bet. Yeah.
And like getting a bit deeper into what you should be writing in these emails, because this is, in my opinion, this is like so underrated. Like I know very few artists who actually use email lists. So like getting right into detail. So first email out, are you just sending the same thing every week, just saying what you're up to? Or like, would you start off by maybe saying your backstory in the first email and then put them through an email sequence?
That's a good question. I think for the first email, it should be heavily introducing yourself. I think a backstory would be a great thing to do for that first email. And obviously don't send that email every week, because you'll need to send that to just the people who have just subscribed. But after they've been introduced to you, just show who you are. If you feel like you're similar, if your fans feel like they're similar to you, they're a lot more likely to trust you. You'll be more reliable, and they'll like you more because you're similar to them. So show your interest, show what you do, what you're getting up to, and just be relatable to people as much as you can.
Yeah, 100%. And like the great thing about email is I always tell people, like, what happens if Instagram goes tomorrow or Instagram delete your account, which they can do at any time. Like email, like you own that list of contacts, and whatever like email service provider you're using, you can even do it for free with Gmass. If you get the emails, you can just send out emails like that. Like you own those contacts, so you own that list, so no one can take it away from you. So it's so much added safety. So like whatever you're doing, I think you should build an email list. Yeah,
like you said, it's very underrated. I really don't know a lot of artists that do this. Artists I work with anyway. Like as soon as I introduce the idea to them, they seem a bit like confused and lost. But once they start, like they see the benefits of it quite quickly, I'd say.
And you can tell because big artists use it. Like Post Malone, for instance, has an emailing list. So you can tell it's valuable, and it really doesn't take that much time to set up. Like you just write a few emails. You just write a few emails, and then it gets like automatically sent to them. So I mean, yeah, I think we both agree on that. Like 100%, everyone should be doing that.
Yeah.
So going back to like social media, Instagram right now is sort of like the hub of pretty much everything, but like especially for music, it's like where everyone goes to. Where do you think the future is of like artists' social media? Like, should they just be staying on Instagram? Like, what can they be looking forwards to?
I think artists should be on as many platforms as possible, but in terms of the future, I think Instagram's here for a long time. But newer apps are always very popular. Like Clubhouse has just come out. That's a great place to network. TikTok, of course. Facebook is good, but for the future, I don't see it being very beneficial for new artists with all the new features coming out. It's hard to keep up with. So I'd say definitely stick to Instagram, get on TikTok as much as you can. And Clubhouse is very new. I don't know too much about it, but like I said earlier, just as many places as possible.
Yeah.
Difficult to predict the future.
Yeah, that was a tough question because like how is anyone supposed to know? The only thing you can do is just stick with like the new apps coming out, and say one of them does get big in a year, you've become like an early adopter, so you're going to be fine.
Exactly. You have that base following, so people will look at your profile and see a lot of followers and be like, there must be something valuable here.
Mm-hmm. This is a bit of a broader topic, but like at what point do you think artists should be getting involved in marketing? How important is it that you sound to a certain level first before you start, or is it all right just like as you're improving your music might not be there, but you just keep marketing all the way?
I think it depends on your personal opinion. If you feel like you're ready, if you feel like your music's good enough and you want to show it to as many people as possible, then I feel like you're ready. If you believe in yourself, then other people will definitely believe in you. But I think finding your own sound is important first. Don't copy other people just because that's the in thing at the moment, because trends come and go all the time. So find your sound, find what works best for you, and there will be people there that will enjoy that. Mm-hmm. So once you've found your sound, once you're confident in yourself, then I'd say get your music out to as many people as you can as soon as you're ready.
Yeah. Have you got any tips for how to find a fan base that like resonates with your sound? So say you make like dancehall music or you make drill music. How do you find like an audience who is perfect for listening to your type of music?
I'll give 2 little tricks. So firstly, find an influencer with your fan base or big Instagram account with your ideal fan base, people that will enjoy your music. Get in contact with them, and it might cost a bit of money, but pay them to take a video with your song in the background, or say, look at this new song I've just found. And because that's your target audience, you're putting yourself in front of those people. The second tip I'd give is through Facebook ads. If you do a video views campaign, this will be a lot cheaper because you're making people stay on Facebook rather than leaving. And Facebook ultimately want people to stay on the app as long as possible. So do a video views campaign and target a broad audience, like 1 to 5 million people with the artists similar to you. And Facebook will then optimize the people who have been interacting with it, like heart reacting, like reacting. They won't show people who say angry react or report your video or your content that you're sharing. And Facebook will just optimize the right people. You might start with like a 3 million audience. Facebook will see that 500,000 people liked it and stick to targeting, showing your ads to them consistently rather than the big group that didn't watch, say, more than 50% of your video.
Yeah, that's cool. So with Facebook ads, do you prefer Facebook ads or like advertising through Facebook Ads Manager to Instagram? Like, what do you see as better?
It depends on the result you'd want. I'd say for the majority of time, to build your original fan base, Facebook is best because it's easier to make content that will stop people on Facebook than Instagram. Instagram, I feel like, is a very flashy place. Everyone just wants to look the best they can. Facebook shows a lot more personality. So if you're a new artist, it's a lot easier for people to stop on Facebook than to stop on Instagram.
Mm-hmm. So say you're a new artist, right? So you want to set up Facebook ads because you want to grow your audience through paying a bit of money. What sort of ads do you see working really well right now, and like how should you be running them?
Like I said, if you're new and you're on a limited budget, video view campaigns, they work the best because you can get very cheap cost per click, cost per like, cost per save. Traffic ads are good if you're taking someone to your Spotify or a website. What other ads are there? Traffic and video views are 2 main ones for new artists, I'd say. But I'd stick to video views for new new artists especially. I feel like that's the best way to go.
And that's video views to then boost your Facebook page.
It will just introduce people. So video views, like I said, video views will show how many people watched, how much percent of the video, and then you can retarget those people as soon as possible with more content.
Oh yeah. So you're getting them to watch a certain amount of your videos, and then you're retargeting them. Could you retarget them on Instagram?
Yeah, you can retarget them to literally anything. You can retarget them to subscribe to you on YouTube. Retarget them. Retarget them to opt into your email list. Retarget them to like your Facebook page. Retarget them to follow you on Instagram.
Mm-hmm. Do you think artists should have a website?
Yeah, maybe not brand new artists, but definitely once you've built a bit of a following, artists should definitely have a website where you can announce things, sell merch, sell physical CDs, like vinyls are quite an in thing. So yeah, I think websites are very important.
Yeah, and that's quite a hard thing to just be like, okay, I want to start a website. So how do you go about doing that, and how much does it roughly cost to build your own website?
I'd say the best way to build your own website is through Fiverr.com. It gets a lot of criticism sometimes from people picking the wrong people, but just look at the ratings of each people, see what work they've done, and try and contact them. It costs about £20 to £50 to build a website usually from one of those people. If you're good at that stuff yourself, then for sure go for it. But I'd say a safe bet is to go on Fiverr, find someone who's been doing it for a long time, and they can walk you through the design. You can tell them tips, pointers, what you want, what you don't want. And they usually do a good job. Sometimes it can be risky, but usually they do a good job.
And that's not too expensive. And like the benefits from that, I'd be interested to hear what you think on this, but you could attach a Facebook pixel to that. And then it means like for everyone listening, like Facebook can see who's going on your website. You could then retarget those people on Instagram or Facebook, which is really, really easy to set up. And like you could see how that'd be huge, because you're basically just showing those people who are clearly interested in your music, so they're very likely to go stream it.
Yeah, pixels are very important because they're not only interested, they've clicked on the link you've given them to find out more about you. So retargeting those people usually brings in the best results. I forgot to mention Facebook and Google Pixels. They are very, very important.
What sort of things would you want to include in a website for an artist?
Updates, definitely. Some merch. Merch shouldn't be that difficult. I've never actually worked with anyone to build merch yet. I'm looking to do that in the future. But merch, definitely selling your own merch to bring in more income for yourself. Copies of CDs, vinyl editions, and of course, an opt-in to your email list.
You're just trying to get as many different like streams of getting into that email list as you can, so you can keep growing it and you'll have it forever.
Yeah, I think looking at other artists' websites as well can be very beneficial. Look at what you like on their websites and implement it into your own.
I think I know a struggle that a lot of artists have at the moment is just like financially. It's so hard for artists to make money. Have you got any tips for how an artist could be making money rather of, obviously there's like royalties through songs, or like other methods of making money?
Sorry, cut out the end. Was it just how can artists make money?
Yeah.
The new artists make money. Like you said, royalties on songs. Other than that, I'd say try and build up your YouTube as much as possible. I think streaming and YouTube money is the best because you can literally make money while you sleep. On YouTube, it's difficult to build up at first because you need a set amount of watch time before you can monetize your channel. But once that's happened, you can earn good money from that. Other ways would be